Steph, welcome to the Visionary Life podcast. I am so thrilled because you are the final interview in our Bracebridge series. So it's such an honor to chat with you, and I can't wait to hear the story behind how you got to where you are today. So thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with some quick fire questions to warm you up. Number one, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Mississauga, Ontario.
And then you ended up in Bracebridge. How?
Okay, so Adam and I lived in Whistler for 5 years in early 2000. And then we decided to grow our family and have our first child, and decided that, well, we want to be closer to family. So we decided to move back to Ontario. While we were trying to figure out where in Ontario we wanted to move back to, we talked about our experiences as children and where we didn't want to move back to the city. So I grew up coming to Muskoka my entire childhood. My grandparents live up here. They own a store called Robinson's General Store in Dorset. That's where I worked during the summertime. And then I just felt that Muskoka was a great place to raise a family. And we knew a few friends that we had met in college in London, Ontario, that were starting a business called the Griffin Gastropub. And they really convinced us to try it out in Bracebridge. So we packed up our lives in Whistler, BC, and drove a U-Haul across the country and arrived in Bracebridge in 2008, August 2008.
Wow. So that was Jed and Kurt that you knew from college?
It was Jed and our friend Gavin.
Okay.
And then, sorry, not Jed, if we can edit this part. Kurt and Gavin.
Kurt and Gavin.
That we knew in London, Ontario.
That's very cool. So by this point, the listeners have heard the episode about the Griffin pub. So now they can put it into context. That is so awesome. And I think that's it's a big change, right? To make the move across the country and to decide on where you want to start your new life. But I think it's really cool to hear that you kind of just chose something on a whim. Yeah, you knew a couple people and you had a vision for your life, and it's not where you grew up, but you can find a place that brings you joy, even if you have never lived there before. And I think that's
Absolutely.
really cool to hear.
And from the first day we moved here, we felt welcome.
That's super inspiring. Yeah. I love to hear that. What would you say is your greatest accomplishment in life or in business thus far?
Oh my goodness. Well, in life is having my two beautiful children, Caleb and Chloe. And in business, I would say opening up the Pasta Shoppe in downtown Bracebridge, as well as we just recently last summer launched with selling our Muskoka maple butter tarts in all Sobeys stores across Ontario. So that was a big accomplishment for us, because not only do we have a shop in downtown Bracebridge, we also do a wholesale business that we supply to various stores across Ontario.
So you're busy.
Okay, yeah.
A little bit. All right. So I'd love if you could take us back to number one, how you and Adam met. I believe it was in culinary school. And then maybe just take us through that journey of what happened after you graduated. What were your first career paths? Take us back to that part in your life.
Wow. So yeah, Adam and I met at Fanshawe College in culinary school. We started off as like best friends and spent a lot of time together, being in class and hanging out socially. And then I went to Whistler, BC to do my internship at the Fairmont Chateau Whistler. I thought I would only be there for a summer. And then I realized I absolutely loved Whistler and the people, and I loved working for the Fairmont. So I ended up staying for 5 years. Adam came that summer, my first summer there, and same thing, he loved it there as well. And a few years I guess a year later, we officially um, started dating. And then, yeah, we lived there for 5 years. We decided to have a family. And then we moved to Bracebridge. And when we first moved to Bracebridge, we didn't know that we were going to open up a gluten-free pasta shop or anything like that. I had worked various jobs. Adam worked various jobs in the community. It wasn't until Adam worked at the Muskoka Natural Food Market as a chef and started doing gluten-free cooking demonstrations. And Adam's whole background is Italian cooking. And he used to have to make fresh pasta every day. And he was up for the challenge of making gluten-free fresh pasta for his demo. So he went, made it, and the experience of the customers that were a part of the workshop were like, this is the best pasta I've ever had. You've got to make this. You've got to sell this. And at the time I was on mat leave with our second child and kind of figuring out a new career path. And I just said, why don't we just try and sell it at the farmers markets? I'm home with the kids anyways. I need something to do. Why don't we just try it and see how it goes? So we branded it Beat the Wheat and started going to local farmers markets. And our first farmers market, I sold out and realized the need for gluten-free products. So my background is baking. Adam's background is cooking. And we kind of worked together to create what is now the Pasta Shoppe and Beat the Wheat. So I do all the baking. Adam does all the cooking side of things. So yeah,
So
10 years later, we're still here.
So cool. I'm wondering, when you first kind of got that idea to start selling at farmers markets and you said you started to brand it, did you ever have a point when you sat down and kind of like wrote out the 5-year plan, the business plan, and were really detail oriented? Or did you literally just do kind of like whatever it took to just get to that farmers market and just see how it went? Were you more calculated, or was it more go with the flow?
Well, at the time when we first did, we were definitely more calculated. Like, we had set up a business plan, but we didn't know before we did the farmers market, like how popular it would be. And I guess with our branding too, people recognized it right away. Beat the Wheat, it's a really catchy name.
Yeah.
And Adam's uncle, who's a graphic designer, designed our label, and he often designs product labels for larger food companies. So he knew the colors to use, the style to use. And I remember my first farmer's market, people were like, I've seen you. Are you at grocery stores? And I'm like, this is the first time I've actually like put my product out there into the market. So it was kind of neat to see, for sure.
Seemed more official than it actually was, but you're like,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. So then after we did like a summer of farmers markets, that's when we like took the business more seriously and developed a plan. We did like a 5-year plan. When I went to culinary school, I always envisioned having a bakery, cafe / deli. That was kind of the whole goal of opening up or getting into culinary school. That changed a lot throughout my career path. And then when we moved to Bracebridge, things just started falling into place. And then 3 years after we started Beat the Wheat, that's when we opened up the Pasta Shoppe, and my dream came true.
So cool. So I want to take it back again. So you do that first farmers market, you sell out. Then what happens after that? Like, did you just focus on farmers markets for the next couple of years? Did you start looking to retail accounts? How did you decide to move forward when you had that proof of concept?
So the first summer at farmers markets, a lot of chefs and retailers, local retailers, would come to us and want to carry our products in their stores or on their menu. We were also a part of Sebre Muskoka at the time, and that really kind of brought together food artisans and chefs together. And we would often do events. We would often, talk about, how to amalgamate all the businesses together and support each other, because we do live in a seasonal small community in Muskoka. So we need to support each other. So yeah, the first year, it was a busy year. We were doing wholesale, but at the same time, the farmers market was that place where our customers could come and grab their orders instead of us having to go and drive them out, because we started doing the farmers market in Bracebridge, and then went to Gravenhurst, Rosso, Port Carling, Huntsville. So we ended up hitting all those main towns in Muskoka. So it made it easier for us to kind of start the wholesale side of Beat the Wheat. Mm-hmm. And then after, I would say the fall, that's when we started launching Beat the Wheat in stores in downtown Toronto.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what was that process like? So you said a lot of people approached you actually to sell your products in their store. So was that generally how it went, or did you have to get out there and kind of pitch the concept and try to sell it into stores, or was it a mixture of both?
Going into the city, because we weren't from Toronto, I would have to go and pitch them. And show them our product, do sample days in their stores. And again, a lot of our cottager customers live in the city and would also help support us and tell their favorite stores, specialty stores, that they wanted Beat the Wheat products in their store. And then when I would go to the stores, they would have already heard of our brand and our name. So it made it a little bit easier to get into the stores. Mm-hmm. We did, however, stop doing wholesale for a couple of years when we did launch the Pasta Shoppe, because, it's just Adam and I, and we do live in a small community, and sometimes it's difficult to get full-time year-round staff, so it was, at that time, it was whatever Adam and I could manage. So we decided, okay, we'll put a hold on doing wholesale, focus on the Pasta Shoppe for a couple of years. And then just last summer is when we kind of relaunched getting Beat the Wheat into grocery stores again.
Awesome. Now, did you know a lot of other people, other businesses at the time who were making gluten-free pasta, who had a similar product offering, or were you some of the only people you knew kind of doing what you were doing?
At the time of when we first launched Beat the Wheat, no one was making gluten-free fresh pasta. We were definitely the first on the market. But then, as we started doing more gluten-free food shows and stuff, we started seeing them popping up a little bit more. Like, even the main brands didn't really they had gluten-free pasta, dried pasta, but no gluten-free fresh pasta. I would say in the past, 5 to 7 years, maybe, that's when you started seeing more competition in that field. Mm-hmm. But now we've launched the gluten-free Muskoka maple butter tart, and you don't see gluten-free butter tarts anywhere. And that's kind of what we've always done. We've always set ourselves apart from the rest, from the competition. We aren't going to bring into market a product that is readily available in grocery stores. We want to launch something that is unique, that our customers have been missing for years, since being diagnosed with celiac disease, or something that they've always wished they were able to try but couldn't because they've been celiac their whole lives. I talk to our customers often about, what are the products you want to see on the market? What are things that are missing that you can't get at the grocery store? And then I start experimenting. I get into the kitchen. I start experimenting, and then I try to perfect it. Mm-hmm. So I'm always asking for my customers' feedback.
I think that's such an important business lesson, especially for anyone listening who aspires to start a business or is in the early stages, that you have to talk to your customers, right? Like, you may think you know what they want, but until you get into conversation with them and ask them questions and get them to kind of fill out surveys or share their goals, then you don't actually know what to create for them. And I think that's so perfect that you were able to talk to them and say, what are you missing the most? And then go create that, because then there's already a demand for it. And
absolutely,
probably love that you're able to fill that. So let's go back to when you launched your first official bricks and mortar. So you called it the Pasta Shop by Beat the Wheat. So what was the drive behind launching a physical location? What pushed you to want to do that?
So, as I said before, when I first originally got into culinary school, I always envisioned having my own shop or bakery. This location, we were actually at a crossroads in our business. I had a full-time job. Adam was focusing solely on our business, and we were trying to figure out, we were kind of hitting a bunch of bumps in the road as far as getting our product outside of Muskoka, trying to get a distribution company that would come as far north as Bracebridge. So we, at the time of that discussion, we were either going to be done with our business or do something different. We kind of, our first shop kind of fell into our laps. We knew the previous renters, they were planning on not continuing on with the rent. And I just saw the shop. It was this cute little tiny like shop that had like a European feel, and it wasn't too big that we would feel like we'd break the bank to open up a bricks and mortar establishment. It had a big kitchen space. At the time, we were working at Deerhurst Resort in their kitchen, and they were actually demolishing the building that our kitchen was in. So it was like so many things were kind of like, it's either we stop doing this or we do something different or get our own establishment. So in May of 2010, 2000, I think it was 2014, we opened up the Pasta Shop. And it was this little tiny shop. We only sold pasta because, again, I was working full time, so I wasn't doing any of the baking at the time. So it was all cooked, anything that Adam could kind of could make, and kind of brought back all the old recipes and ideas that he had in his training in Whistler. And we did pre-made meals and fresh pasta every day. We do different flavored fresh pastas, sauces that people could come and pick up and take home. It was such a cute little tiny shop. And then once we had opened the shop, I realized this is what I want to do. I want to work in my business again. I got excited about Beat the Wheat again. And I am so customer oriented that I was like, I want to see our customers. I was almost jealous of Adam that he got to work in the shop and I was working a full-time job, and all I wanted to do is be in my shop, and any chance I could get, I was in that shop, tending to customers. And so yeah, it was exciting. It's just so crazy to think back on, when you first like decide whether or not to continue on with your business or go on in a totally different direction. So,
yeah. I'm glad that you highlighted that the entrepreneurial journey is not always like very steady. Like you kind of go through ebbs and flows sometimes of being like, I know what I want to do. I love my business. I have the clear vision. And then other times it's like, I'm not sure. Are we making the right choice? Do we need to pivot?
totally.
And that's normal, right? Like you're always
Mm-hmm.
going to have those highs and lows, those good day, bad days. And when you have those off days, I think it's important to recognize that it's not that your idea is bad. It's not that your business isn't going to
No, no,
work,
no.
but you may need to either take a step back or think about how you can pivot, how you can reignite that fire. Like for you, you said you loved seeing your customers
Mm-hmm.
face to face. And so for you, that was a nudge to like, oh my gosh, I want to be back in the shop. Like that's probably where you shine, is in building relationships and saying
Absolutely.
hello to people and asking them like, what they missed the most when they went gluten-free, and getting into those
Mm-hmm.
deeper conversations that really, it's relationship building that probably make people come back to Beat the Wheat over and over and over. Um,
Absolutely.
obviously starting a bricks and mortar business comes with challenges, right? It's not only that you have to be open certain hours, but there's a seasonal
Yeah.
kind of flow in Bracebridge, there's staffing. I'm wondering, for you guys, what were some of the early challenges that you remember in those first couple of years?
Those two things that you just said, the seasonal community and staffing, like trying to find year-round staff and trying to keep, customers coming in the middle of winter because, our population is cut in half after, Labor Day weekend. So it's, we were always trying to figure out what we could do, what new can we bring onto the menu, how can we bring people into the store, like our local clientele. we I would go out and hand out menus to all the BIA businesses downtown. I would go to the district offices, to the fire department, police department, go to all those larger businesses, hand them our catering menus, and always be in their face. Anytime we had like lunch specials, I would make a poster and hang it in their lunchroom, and just like be in our customers, our local customers' faces, to be like, we're still here. Come check us out. Come see what we're doing. And I felt that was really helpful. You have to hit the pavement, especially when you're in a small town, because people, like in any community, you're on your route, continue with your routine.
Yeah.
And you don't try something new. And because we were a gluten-free pasta shop in downtown Bracebridge, we have a population of 16,000 people. How many of those people are looking for a product like ours? So when we started our bricks and mortar business, we didn't really want to push the whole gluten-free in our customers' faces. We were a pasta shop. So if you're looking for pasta, you come to our shop. And then once I left working my full-time job, I really brought in a lot of the baking. We started doing fresh breads and butter tarts, but when we made the butter tarts, we made them with Muskoka maple syrup. Like, we just tried to incorporate as much local products as we could. And we use quality ingredients, and again, getting our customers' feedback on our products. And we made gluten-free not taste gluten-free. You would have no idea that our products are gluten-free. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we did to keep us afloat in the off season.
I love that. So you said, obviously, like hitting the pavement, handing out those flyers, putting up the posters with the lunch specials. Over the past few years, or maybe in the early days, what were some of the other really valuable marketing strategies or marketing efforts that you guys deployed that you feel brought in customers, whether it was, something you did online or just relationship building? What worked when it came to growing your audience and your customer base?
So I would have to say, being a part of your community. So when we first got into business, we were a part of so many different like business organizations, and I would go to all the different BIA meetings and Chamber of Commerce meetings, and just getting yourself out there, doing any community events that the town was doing, or any of that all of Muskoka was doing. We would be there. We would be donating food. We also did healthy lunches in all the public schools in Bracebridge. So and when we started doing that, we started realizing how many children in the public school system couldn't eat healthy lunches, couldn't have pizza day or sub day or whatever, because they were celiac or dairy free, and everything has cheese and bread in it. So when we started doing the healthy lunches, that was a huge way of getting to those customers that may not have necessarily come to us also, because their kids were talking about how they love getting mac and cheese for their healthy lunch instead of the same old, sub or pizza lunch. So again, we brought our little kid customers something different, and then they would go and tell their parents the next day about like how awesome their lunch was. So just getting out into your community and getting your face out there, being the face of your business. That's the number one thing for us. when people come into our shop, they see us behind the counter. If they have any questions or concerns about anything, they come to us. So I think that's also what's really helped us become successful, is even like, this time of year when cottagers are coming back, they look forward to seeing us when they come in the doors. You really get those relationships, those year-to-year relationships. We've had the same loyal customers since I started working at the farmers markets 10 years ago. So it's just, it's just so neat for them to see our business grow year after year, because every year I feel like there's something new that we're doing. So
yeah.
And that's the great thing about being an entrepreneur, is you can do so many different things. And no one's going to tell you, no, you can't do that.
Which for some people is terrifying, because they're like, if nobody tells me what to do, then what do I do? But it sounds like you have that inner fire to figure out the next step. And I love that you say, like, be the face of your business and like step out there and like show face, because it's like, I might drive by the Pasta Shop and look at a storefront, but I'm a human being. I don't necessarily connect with a sign, or I don't connect with a shop. But when I meet another human, i.e. you or Adam or whoever's working in the store, I'm a person connecting with another person, and you tell me about the story and you share why you started your business. And all of a sudden I feel connected to you. I feel like I want to support you. I feel like I want to go back into the store every couple weeks, right? Because I now know the person behind the brand. And I think that that's so powerful. Like you said, get out to your community events, show up and donate food if possible. And like those efforts, like they will pay off, because people want to get to know you, and they want to hear about your vision.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you look at where the shop is today, like, is this your end point? Is this where you're happy and you kind of want to keep what you have and maintain it? Or do you guys have some like grand plan for the next 5-10 years? Where do you fall in that?
Oh, we've got lots of plans. I feel like our plan, we have an ongoing business plan that every year in January, Adam and I sit down, we revisit our business plan, and we kind of plan what our new goals are for that year.
Cool.
So this year is focusing on our wholesale business and expanding our wholesale line. Since working with Sobeys last June, they have been wanting more products. They know that we create more products. They're like, when can you get those into our stores? So that's kind of what this year's plan is getting we have a distribution company now working with us, Fresh Spoke, which has been great. And we're going to be launching new products in the fall, just getting the summer under our belts. And then, so that's our goal this year. But every year there's always something new, and I can't even tell you what's going to happen in 5 years.
That is so exciting. And for those listening who don't know, Sobeys is one of Canada's larger grocery store chains. I'm wondering, how did that relationship come about? Did they approach you? Did you approach them?
They actually approached us. They were doing like a new local product campaign.
Yeah.
And we've been a part of FedNor. We do the Royal Winter Fair every year since pretty much we started our business. And the agricultural, the Food and Agriculture of Ontario kind of approached us and said, hey, Sobeys is doing a local product campaign, and they have asked if you would be a part of it. So we pitched some of the big corporate managers, and they loved our product. We brought them samples of butter tarts, and I feel like we had this whole meeting planned out, and we had like this PowerPoint presentation and everything like that. And I also had like handouts and stuff. We didn't even get through the PowerPoint presentation. They just kept eating our butter tarts, and they're just like, these are so good. And they just kept talking about the product. So it like my whole presentation was just like gone. So we just had like a conversation about our butter tarts, and they brought them in right away. So it was really great. Sobeys has been a really great company to work for too, because they let us like launch slowly and not like all at once, because we were also in the process of developing our kitchen, and it was coming into busy season at the shop. So we had just like launched with 50 stores instead of all of the Sobe stores. So it was really good. Yeah.
That's so cool. And I think that's like the truest testament of having a great business is when, hey, when the product sells itself, you don't need to do much talking, right? They just
Yeah.
need to experience how amazing and how tasty all of your products are. So that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
funny. I'm wondering, what does a typical day in the life look like for you at this point? Obviously, every day is probably quite different, but could you paint us a picture of what a day or a week looks like?
Yeah, for sure. So I like to have my mornings enjoying a cup of coffee.
Yep.
Usually during our coffee, Adam and I kind of sit and chat about what our day is going to look like, because like you said, every day is different. I can have a plan of what my week's going to look like, but as orders come rolling in, and having staff, and you just never know what's going to happen day to day, and that's also the exciting part of owning your own business. So we go day by day. Then usually I go into the production kitchen. I like to set out my plan for my production prep list for the day. And then I usually make a lot of bread. Right now I do a lot of bread. And then I have a team who does all my butter tart production, and they are amazing. So yeah, I do a lot of the bread and specialty baked goods, and then I have a team that does butter tarts, and I oversee it. And then I often have to get the orders for our online store, for wholesale. I need to collect those, and then like our local wholesale, and then any orders for the shop. I need to kind of prepare myself for the
Mhm.
day. So yeah, and then usually the afternoon I go to the shop, help them out. I like to be in the shop at least 3 times a week, because again, that's what I love. I love being in the face of our business. I like seeing our customers, especially this time of year. Yeah, so
Mm.
that's kind of my day.
How have you found the whole process of growing a team? Does that come naturally to you and Adam, or has it been challenging to kind of find the right people and manage them?
I I'm a bit of a control freak, so I sometimes have a hard time letting go of my responsibilities.
Yeah.
Adam is a really good team manager. He's even good sometimes with me when I get overwhelmed. He just like calms me down and is like, "Okay, Steph, what's important right now?" And it's like, okay, then I can start focusing on the important
Mhm.
stuff instead of being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed and I can't do all these things." And
Yeah.
I often do feel like I need to let go of more of my responsibilities and hand them off to our staff. Um, but yeah, I think it's also has something to do with like being an entrepreneur and growing your business with just the two of you, and then having to start letting those pieces go and making sure that the quality control is still there, and that if I'm not at the shop, that our customers are still getting that experience if I'm not the face of our business. And we've been so fortunate that we have had amazing staff work at our
Mhm.
shop, especially, that do share that story, and our values in our shop. And our customers, they always share that, and my customers would be the first to tell us if they didn't feel that way.
Yep. Yep.
Because they've been loyal to us for our entire life of our business. So yeah, it's I would say I'm not a natural leader. That is definitely something that I have to work on.
Mhm.
Just yeah, letting things go for
Mhm.
sure.
I think that's probably one of the greatest challenges of anyone who is expanding their team and bringing on other people to share in the vision. It's like,
Absolutely.
how do I bring you in on the baby that I created? So it
Yeah,
can
for
definitely be
sure.
a struggle, but then also it's like, it's necessary because you have a family, you have so many other roles that you need to be involved in your business. And it just
Absolutely.
probably doesn't make sense for you to be, molding out every single butter tart anymore,
For sure.
much as you might like to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's so awesome. So, being that this is a series to spotlight the incredible town of Bracebridge, I'm wondering, how would you describe Bracebridge in just one or two words?
One or two words.
I know
Oh,
that's hard.
yeah, I know. Because I find Bracebridge is so, I would say, definitely welcoming and beautiful.
Hmm.
Like, it's just from the day we rolled into Bracebridge from BC, I've always felt welcome. The people here, just the environment, the rivers going through to the town, the beauty of nature around you. There's so much to do in Bracebridge. There's so many beautiful trails, so much activities that you can do in downtown Bracebridge and surrounding areas for free. Mountain biking, you know, there's so much snowshoeing, cross country skiing, there's so much to do around here. Kayaking, canoeing. The beauty of Bracebridge for sure. That would definitely be my one word. And yeah, the welcoming atmosphere of our community.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty special too, to move to a new city from day one to feel welcome. So I think that's
Absolutely.
really,
That's when
really
we
cool.
realized this is the place we want to raise our family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For somebody listening to this podcast who aspires to open a business like you have, but they're worried that there's probably just no demand, or how are they ever going to do it in a smaller town? What advice would you give them to overcome that mindset block?
Follow your dreams. I honestly believe, if you truly believe in your business and you truly believe that it will be successful, follow your dreams. Don't listen to anybody who's going to say, I don't think this is a good idea. Like, I don't know how you're going to make your rent or whatever. Just follow your dreams. And if you believe that it will be successful, it will be successful. Like for Adam and I, to open up a gluten-free pasta shop in downtown Bracebridge, I am sure a lot of people thought we were crazy. Like a lot of people would come into our shop and say, why don't you just have a regular pasta shop made with wheat? It was like, no, we want to be different. We want to be unique. There's a need for our product out there. And if it wasn't for that attitude, we wouldn't be here today, 10 years later. So just follow your dreams and stay positive and stay focused on your goals, and
Mm-hmm.
you will be successful.
That's such good advice, because you're right. Like, if you don't believe in your vision, then nobody else is going to. But if you say your vision, you are so strong in your belief that this will work, people kind of just start to like latch on to that, and they
Yeah,
see you standing strong and shining bright, and they're like, okay, yeah, you know what? I can get on
absolutely.
board with this too. But in the early days, it has to be you that keeps that
Absolutely.
strong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, number one, where can people find you guys, both in person and online? And then number two, if we had to walk out with two of your best products after visiting the shop, what two products would they be?
Okay, so you can find us in downtown Bracebridge at 60 Manitoba Street, right downtown Bracebridge, right at the lights. Or you can visit our website and order online at www.beatthewheat.ca. And you can find us in all Sobeys stores and lots of other retailers in downtown Toronto. And the two products that I think we sell the most of is definitely the Muskoka Maple Butter Tart and our gluten-free fresh pasta that started Beat the Wheat. Absolutely, hands down.
Hmm.
Yes.
Amazing. And I will link all of those in the show notes. I would highly encourage people to either stop in and see you guys if they're in Bracebridge, taking a weekend away or a day adventure from the city. But also to just check out what you guys are up to online. I think it's so inspiring to hear that you really followed your dreams and opened up a niche in a small town and have found success and have grown your brand beyond just this little brick and mortar now. It's available to people all across the province. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing the story, for opening up. And I can't wait to pop into the shop soon and say hello in person. So thanks so much, Steph.
Thank you so much, Kelsey.